Hi, I'm Venus O'Hara and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing something very personal with you. We're going to talk about haters, negative comments, obsessed fans and creator burnout. I wanted to share this video or these topics with you because the other day I was actually interviewing someone for my podcast, someone who went from 0 followers to 1 million followers in a very short time. We were discussing these topics and how this sudden exposure online can affect mental health. So I wanted to share my own experience, even though it's not been that sudden. For me, it's been a lot more gradual, a lot slower. For example, I left my job in 2009 to set up a fetish blog. And here I am 12 years later. I had no idea what I was going to do. But very soon after creating my blog, I was poached by Spanish media and I became a columnist for PaIs, which is Spain's biggest newspaper. And I was writing in a sex blog on the online version, and some of my articles had a lot of attention. They got to the top 10, even number 1 in some cases. And this is a massive readership. This is the whole of Spain plus South America. So sometimes I was really kind of in the firing line, depending on what the article was. But actually, my advice to anyone who wants to become a content creator or an influencer is to actually develop some thick skin and, indifference towards what people think of you sometimes. I think it's really important to really focus on the message you want to share rather than trying to be liked. You can't kind of become a content creator for validation because that's just not really the right intention. And recently, actually, one of my friends who's not even a content creator received some negative comments on one of her social media platforms, and she couldn't delete it, and she was really suffering. And it was like occupying her thoughts for a couple of weeks. And I was thinking, oh my God, you would never cope being online, because people who are online have to deal with negative comments on a daily basis, not just 2 sometimes. Sometimes it's a lot more, and depending on your following, of course. But I think if anyone wants to, become a content creator, then you have to kind of let go of that and not worry about what people are thinking. And when I was in PaIs, there was another blogger who was writing with us, who was a very, very good writer. And she actually gave up her job in the blog because she couldn't handle the negative comments, which is such a pity, really. I had so many negative comments on my articles, but I have to confess that I actually found them entertaining. And sometimes I actually liked them as well, because, for example, if I wrote an article and let's say the first 3 or 4 comments were kind of positive, it's like, yes, I agree, all fantastic. Then when the 5th comment came in, or the 4th or the 5th, that were negative, I was thinking, yes, because when you create a kind of debate in the comments section, I think the article was more like a springboard for a debate in the comments section. And those were the articles that got to number 1. And that's what I really wanted, just to kind of get to number 1, really. It was such a buzz just to see how my article would go up that top 50 list during the day. I was like, click, oh my God. It was just so cool. I actually really, really enjoyed it. And sometimes when I was actually writing articles, I was thinking, I'm going to write this just to like provoke people. I just found the whole thing really, really entertaining. But it was always, authentic. But I was very, and also because I was not writing in my own native language, I did find that I was a bit more daring than what I might be in English. Because I'm not, if you follow my content, you know that I'm not really that outspoken. I might talk about some provocative topics such as sexuality, but I'm not really kind of like trying to piss people off. That's just not my thing at all. But there were some times that were a bit too much for me to cope with, I must confess. Even though I did love getting to number 1 and getting loads of retweets and just loads of attention online from my articles, there were a couple of times where it was a bit too much. For example, I actually wrote an article for PaIs. It was about something in England called the wife school, and I thought this was such a crazy concept. So I thought I'd write about it, and it was a woman who had been a former mistress. She'd been with a married man, and she'd now created this kind of kind of support system for women to kind of prevent infidelities. And it's all very, you could never prevent an infidelity. But I thought the concept of having a wife school was interesting, so I wrote about it. But I wasn't kind of promoting it or supporting it. It was just an observation, well, this exists. But if someone wants to be unfaithful to you, no matter how much of a good person you are, it's not really your fault. You know, someone will do what they're going to do in the end, and it's not really a reflection on you as a partner, in my opinion, anyway. And anyway, someone at PaIs decided to rewrite the title of my article and called it "The Guide of the Good Wife," which is a text which was very famous during the times of Franco. So this particular title really provokes a lot of pain from the past. Anyone who has lived under the rule of Franco, and everyone knows about this guide. It was I think it's from 1953 or something. It was actually 12 points about how to be the perfect wife, and it wasn't a piss take. It was actually really, really real and part of history. So I wasn't even aware of this when I saw, but someone, I didn't even know who, one of the editors, changed the title of my article to provoke this reaction. And at first I didn't think anything of it because I didn't really understand, but oh my God, I was the target for many feminist organizations in Spain were kind of copying and pasting my article and really going for it and really kind of criticizing me. And at first I kind of found all the hate messages a bit kind of entertaining on Twitter, but then it got to the end of the day and it was like, oh my God, it was just too much, especially when it wasn't really my intention to bring up something that's painful from the past. Anyway, my editor phoned me and told me about it, that it was going crazy and that there's been so many complaints that I had to write some kind of, I don't know what you call it in English, some kind of, I don't know what it's called, acknowledgement on the Sunday actual physical newspaper about it, because it had been so provocative. And they also congratulated me because of all the extra traffic. So, and they told me I had to write something to kind of like get myself out of this hole, but I didn't even dig it for myself. They put me in there, you know. So anyway, I actually wrote the following week, the Good Husband Guide. So that's how I kind of got myself out of that mess. But it was really kind of, oh my God. And it made me realize that I don't really want to make people angry. That's not what I want to do at all. You know, it was really unfair. Then another time I did a book promotion for one of my books, and I had about 13 interviews in one day. And when I was face to face with all these journalists, I was kind of very relaxed and like coming out with some really provocative stuff about orgasms and stuff. And then there was this I'm not even going to say it on here, but there was a very provocative title or quote of mine that became the front page of a free newspaper in Spain. So one morning when I woke up hungover, which is a long time ago because I haven't had alcohol for 6 years. I remember waking up on a Friday morning kind of hungover because the phone wouldn't stop beeping, beep, 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 like from 6 a.m. And I was, all the people in the metro of the underground of Madrid and Barcelona, everyone was reading this newspaper, and there's me on the front, a picture of me on the front page with this really provocative title. And oh my God, I had to deal with a whole day of trolling. It was like, oh my God. Some people kind of like did support the article, but they didn't really kind of take things out of context and amplify the things that I didn't really want to. Maybe that wasn't the most important part of it, but that's journalism for you, I suppose. And that's why social media is so nice, because it gives you a kind of way to express yourself on your own platforms in the way you want to express yourself. That's why I do love my own social media. But also, speaking of my own social media platforms, here on YouTube, for example, I do have a few videos that do attract a lot of negativity. For example, 2 of them are about free bleeding. And I know this is going to sound really disgusting for many people, but free bleeding is when you have a period and you don't use any products. And I actually nearly died from a tampon a few years ago, which I haven't really talked about that story, but it's something that really, really freaked me out. And so as a result of that, when I started to try and discover new menstrual products, I found that everything had this awful perfume on. So I thought, I'm going to go natural and free bleed. And a lot of people, free bleeding actually comes from the 70s when women were kind of concerned about toxic shock syndrome, and that's where the kind of thing started. So anyway, I am a free bleeder, and I kind of work from home, so it's not so bad. And free bleeding does not mean I'm squirting blood all over the place by any means. And I made a couple of videos about it because I didn't really see that many positive representations of it. So anyway, my experience is very, very positive, and I've got so many negative comments on these videos. There are some good ones though, and some women who have had very similar experiences to me and actually do practice free bleeding. But one of the most common comments on those videos is that it was made up by 4chan, and that feminists were not supposed to take it seriously. And they kind of, lots of misogynists kind of think that a feminist is kind of think, oh yeah, I'm going to free bleed. It sounds like a great idea. It's been around a long time. I mean, free bleeding has been around since the beginning of time. And, people in the Stone Age, they didn't have Tampax or equivalents or anything like that. So that's another area. But I leave everything there. I think it's important to, unless it's like very offensive, like to me personally, well, it can be a little bit, but I just think it's important just to leave everything there, and then other people will intervene and share some kind of more positive experiences, or maybe defend me, which is nice, as some people have done that. And another video that gets loads of negative attention is one called Promiscuity and Pair Bonding. And I made this video because I saw in this topic, if you look at it in YouTube, there's so many titles of videos that are saying like very misogynistic. They're talking about women like they are, it's like the language that people use to describe promiscuous women. I just found the whole thing very misogynistic, and I think, haven't we got past that stage now? I mean, I think people who, let's say if people are into casual sex and hooking up or using dating apps, I don't think in my circle that many men who think that a woman who has sex on the first night, I don't think they're thinking of her as some kind of easy woman. I think it's kind of like, that can be the norm in lots of society, in lots of societies these days. It's not just like, oh, she let me shag her the first night, she's easier. I think that's, I don't know, but I mean, in my circles, people don't really think like that. They might think like that in different parts of the world. But I mean, a guy who's like shagging around either, that's not, I don't know. I just think there's a real double standard, even though it's supposed to be about science and biology, and women can only have one baby every 9 months, whereas men can kind of like have, I don't know, 300 or something. But still, it was just my video was not a scientific study of promiscuity or pair bonding. It was my opinion on videos that I'd seen, or this kind of attitude of that women were worthless if they'd been promiscuous, which I do not agree with. Anyway, and there's loads of negative comments on that. It's kind of, the comment section is kind of like a real battle of the sexes, which is kind of interesting. And then some people kind of like will say something positive about it, but not many. I leave everything there. I think it's interesting to have this debate. And also another thing I want to talk about negative comments, the good side of it is that when I was in PaIs, going back to that time, the negative comments were the ones that inspired new articles. It wasn't there, yeah, we agree. I mean, it's always nice to get some support, but it was really the negative comments that inspired new articles that had their own set of negative articles, and the cycle just went on and on and on, which was great. Let's see if I've spoken about everything. But anyway, today I don't actually have a TV, as you can see, loads of books here. But I keep on top of things by looking at Twitter and seeing what's trending. And I saw some names of some, you see someone's famous, that someone's name, that they're trending, you think, oh my God, have they died? But oftentimes, if they're not dead, it might be their birthday, or they're in the firing line for some cancel culture stuff. And I think that's another level of trolling, and I haven't really reached that, thank God, but that's kind of like next level, and that would be very, very difficult to deal with. But I think comes a time when you have to kind of detach from that type of thing. I mean, for me, for a long time, I didn't actually engage in comments on YouTube because there were so many negative ones there about the free bleeding and about the pair bonding one, but now I do, and I just write back to the ones on the other videos, the ones that are diplomatic, even ones that I don't agree with or that don't agree with me. So yeah, so I'm not ignoring my comment section anymore. Okay, so the next point I wanted to make is about obsessed followers. And this is actually, I'm probably not going to speak about it for as long, but this is actually way worse, in my humble opinion, than the negativity. Because negativity in general, it's just about someone kind of projecting their anger or their frustration with the world. It's not really about me. However, people who become obsessed fans or obsessed followers who are kind of like have notifications when every time I do something, those are the ones who are really freaky and scary, in my opinion. I mean, I've had a few of those over the years, and it's very difficult because it puts you in a difficult, because obviously at first it can be very flattering when someone's watching all of your content and they know a lot of things about you and they're asking you personal questions, and that can be really kind of flattering. But there is a kind of like a line. And also something that I do find very weird is sometimes if I open Instagram and I go to the message requests section, so it's people that I'm not following, but people that I don't even know, and I see missed video call from some random people, and I'm thinking, why would you try and do a video call for someone you don't even know personally? It's so crazy. I just think it's really crazy. I mean, I do have my own people that I follow and really enjoy watching, but I don't start like trying to contact them and send them videos and then have video chats with them. I do understand that there's a kind of like a barrier, there's like there's a screen, it's yeah, so I find it very strange. But I mean, I know what it's like to kind of go down the rabbit hole when you like someone's content and you start watching all of their videos. I've done it myself, I do it a lot. But that's kind of next level when you start to try and kind of contact them and be like their friend or something. I mean, I'm very grateful for all the messages I received, but and 99% of the time everyone is very respectful and supportive, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. But there's that 1% of just crazy people, and then sometimes these people who are obsessed, if you don't produce a piece of content in the way they expect, they can get very angry as if they were your only fan or something, which is just, oh my God. And I've had a bit of dilemma in knowing that my content makes these people happy, it brings them joy, but their presence is not bringing me joy. So I've kind of had to block some people, and I didn't do it easily. It took me a long time, but I mean, when in doubt, leave it out, I think. So I'm less attached to that kind of thing now. And also there's people who want to kind of have my old socks or old shoes, which is something quite crazy. But when I was, going through these experiences, I started to do some Dr. Google and just look it up and about the psychology behind an obsessed fan. And I did find something called celebrity worship disorder. So it really is a disorder. So that's why I find this kind of behavior a lot worse than someone who's writing negative comments about you, because it is really kind of like freaking weird, freaking freaky. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, so that is very weird. But I think you have to be very careful and not give away too many details about your life, etc. And yeah, and one of the reasons why I don't do dating apps, I mean, this thing about knowing how many meters away you are, I mean, that's just so freaky. Because years ago when I used to work on the Catalunya radio, the local radio here, and I would get home and from the supermarket, and then I would get these messages on social media from people I don't even know who they are, and they would tell me, you were in this, I saw you on this place at this time, and I was like, oh my God, because someone's seen me, and I don't even know who they are or that they recognize me. And also I used to go to this cafe every Saturday morning, and some guy who didn't even have a profile picture on his social media was messaging me all the time and telling me what I was wearing, and oh my God. Thankfully now I've got, I don't really do anything in Spain anymore. All my content is in English for an international market, and most of my following is in the US. It's mostly New York and California, and then some Germany, some UK, and Australia, and thankfully the ones who are come into the obsessed categories are like at least half a day away on a plane. So that's pretty cool. I feel kind of relaxed. I want recognition for my work, but I want the anonymity as well. I want to be able to go down the street and just kind of like not worry about being recognized. It's kind of nice. But I did used to have that a few years ago, and people taking selfies with me in the supermarket. So yeah, it's kind of nice to not have that now and just be a bit more anonymous, because anonymity is very nice. Okay, so what's the last one? Anonymity but recognition for work, definitely. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is creator burnout, and that's a real thing with being online, because you're creating so much. It does take a lot of energy to create, and I find that I have like peaks and troughs in my creativity. I mean, for example, today I've put makeup on. I don't really usually wear makeup, and I'm really feeling inspired. So today I'm actually going to make several videos and just make the most, because I've actually been a bit burnt out. I wouldn't say burnt out, but I've been focused really on my podcast in the last 6 weeks or 2 months, and I haven't uploaded as much to YouTube over the last few weeks. So that's going to change now, because I am feeling this new wave of inspiration. But I think it's important to kind of like respect those rhythms, biorhythms. I mean, for example, for me, some days I don't really feel like wearing makeup or putting a dress on. I'm just kind of like no makeup in a hoodie. And those days I'm the writer. I kind of like to be unseen. Whereas other days I'm kind of like up for, being in front of the camera and sharing a bit more. And so, yeah, today's one of those days. But I think it's important to listen to those biorhythms and not go against the grain, not do things which don't feel completely natural. However, in the past I did Vlogmas last year. Like I think I got to day 22 or something like that. So I just missed it by 2 days, and I was going to like force myself to do the last day, but I thought I can't be bothered. I kind of had plans or a Christmas dinner or something, and I thought, fuck it. So, I shouldn't really say that on here. Anyway, and also in May 2018, I did a 30-day challenge, which I really hold dearly in my heart. That challenge that really helped me to kind of relax in front of the camera, because before I used to kind of edit videos, I wasn't entirely comfortable in front of the camera. And by day 24, I was making one-take videos, which is really my objective, to make one-take videos, because there's nothing to edit. And also I think it shows more authenticity. I don't need to have all these jump cuts. So if you think about all those jump cut videos, I mean, there must be a lot of mistakes in those, and it's a lot of work to edit. But anyway, creator burnout. So I'm going to try and share some more lifestyle things and more personal things, and hopefully that will inspire you, as well as reviews, etc., and my podcast. So yeah, so I'm kind of getting over this burnout now, and I'm going to make some videos that will take up the next few weeks of scheduling. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting, and if you have any comments or anything you'd like to share in the comment section below, then please don't hesitate to leave a nice comment. Even if it's negative, it's okay. I can cope with it. But I mean, I'd love to hear your feedback on this topic, and in the comment section below. And if you have any requests for new videos, because I'm always looking for requests, or new ideas, then please don't hesitate to write to me at venus@venusohara.org, and I will see you again very soon.